And now, it's time for the Stain Game with your host, the one and only Justin Menezes.
How you doing, sir?
All right. Hey, folks. This is Justin. I'm the host of your Stain Game podcast. I wanted to apologize. We tried this. If you're watching or trying to get this, things just weren't working. I don't know if I'm a multitasker sometimes. I'm trying to grill. I'm trying to do a podcast and then be a husband, be a father, and do everything all at once. And sometimes technology just can't keep up. Today, we have a special guest. We have the man himself, Sheldon, with Just Stain It. And I'm going to have Sheldon introduce himself, and then we'll just jump right into it.
How's everyone doing? My name is Sheldon, the owner of Just Stain It. I own a staining company with my wife in Kentucky, and we service the entire state.
Awesome. So, Sheldon, how did you get into the staining business?
You know, that's an odd thing, actually. It was it just kind of fell into my lap pretty much. I was out of work at the moment, and I was looking for an opportunity to make a couple bucks just to, make sure payments and bills are paid and things like that. And someone had posted on a Facebook page asking if someone can stain their deck. Well, I've always known the saying, if you're ever presented with an opportunity you're not sure on how to do, say yes and learn it later. And that's exactly what I did lots of research, everything I could, and did everything by hand, quite literally. Didn't have a palm sander, didn't have any of the necessary tools to make the process significantly expedited as I do now. And she was so pleased and happy with the job that she posted it on the Facebook page and said, hey, if anyone needs their deck or fence done, call Sheldon. And it just blew up from there.
Awesome. So how long ago was that?
That was now 4.5 years ago.
Awesome. So you're going on 5 years now.
Yes, correct.
Awesome. And so what does Just Stain It look like 5 years or 4.5 years later? Is it just you and the wife, or have you guys brought on any extra crew, or what does it look like for you guys now?
Yeah, we've grown exponentially. So of course it was just myself at the very, very, very beginning. And then I brought on my wife. She ended up quitting her job as an accountant for Toyota to help me see this vision through. And then, the following year we got a couple people. And then after that year, we got 14 people. And then after that, we kind of went back down to like about 10, 12 people. And so that's what we're pretty much rolling with right now as well. And it's been a blessing ever since. Just keeps on growing. We went from working out of a Honda vehicle, like a Honda Accord, and also a Toyota Camry, to then we finally got our first van. It was a little tiny Ram van. Now we got a Sprinter van. So it's been growing.
Awesome. Yeah, that's I started off in a Honda Civic. It looked like a clown show.
Yeah.
I look back at it. I'm 6'3" on a good day, and if you imagine like a guy pulling up in a little green Honda Civic 4-door with a power washer in there, I had a DeWalt 3200 in there, a little ladder, and then of course your wand and hoses, everything in that little car. And so I joke around because some of our very first customers are still customers. And there's this old Vietnam vet, and he's like, man, I'll never forget the day the clown show showed up and you hopped out of that little Civic. And I thought to myself, well, I better keep my mouth shut because this guy's liable to kick my ass if I say anything to him. And you came in and you took care of our deck, and then you jammed that power washer back into the back of that car. And I just was like, kept thinking, more and more people were going to hop out of there. But we all start off, in whichever fashion that we do. You have Honda Accord, a Honda Civic, whatever it might be. And now, you're where you're at. Kudos to your wife. I heard a saying that behind every successful business is a successful and intelligent and supportive wife or significant other. Elon Musk maybe has 47 of those women who stand behind him and baby for him. But, kudos for her, especially leaving a job at Toyota and being an accountant. What do you think it was like for her for those who are listening, who are maybe in the same position that you were in at that time, what do you think was going through her mind?
Yeah, I mean, it was more or less that she kind of saw that I was struggling a bit because I was tacking on some larger jobs, and I was still so new to this that I was working really long hours, and so she would come over and she would help me do whatever, what was necessary to complete the job, so that way I wasn't out there struggling. I think at first it was more of like kind of like, I feel sorry for you, so let me try to help you get through this day, because it seems like it's very difficult, and it's grueling, especially with temperatures that we're experiencing now. And then after that, I think she really kind of not necessarily fell in love with it right away, but she understood that this was something that we were doing to make other people happy, and that instant gratification factor really resonated with not only herself but myself as well, and just knowing that we're doing good, we're doing something very positive. And I think she started to really believe in and see in the vision for the future. But it was definitely a struggle at first, because one of the stories that I tell a lot of people is a funny story. When we were first getting started, we were doing this job. I had one of these little air sprayers that have like a little tiny, maybe a couple of quarts that you pour into a bottle, and then you screw it onto the top and you turn the thing on. It kept on jamming. It was like 8:30 at night. We just wanted to get this thing finished because we were already working on it for a while. And she had said something that was kind of funny. She was like, we really need to figure out something else to do, because we're smarter than this in regards to, not having to struggle like this and things like that. So I took that to heart, and I said, you know what, you're right. We are smarter than this. So I got to work at that night, and then the following day, just really figuring out on how to grow this and make it so much better than what it is, because struggling was not something we wanted to continue doing.
Yeah. And kudos to you guys for figuring that out on the go and not getting stuck in your old ways or in the old ways of doing things, and for communicating with one another to where she feels confident telling you, hey, this is what I think. And then you being willing to listen. But let's talk a little bit about the importance of tools and equipment. You talked about how you were using one of those, like a quick shot, or I don't know what they call them now, but you got a cord on there.
Yeah.
What have you experienced, or what's your input on the importance of having like the right equipment to do the right job?
Sure. I mean, you always get what you pay for. So trying to start out with a very minimalistic, line of things that you think will just get you by is ultimately you're going to pay more for it down the road, because one, they're just not going to be sufficient enough to carry the load of what you need to accomplish. So investing in your equipment is number one. I mean, because that's your right hand, your left hand, and any other hand that you might need if you don't have a lot of people with you. So the better the equipment, the better the job will be, and the happier you will be, because it's not rocket science by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also not easy either. Mm-hmm. So investing in your tools and having things that are good, and you do your research and your due diligence on reviews and ask around a little bit, that'll save you a lot of time and headache in the future.
Awesome. Where are you guys located again? In Kentucky, right?
Yeah, so we're in Richmond, Kentucky, maybe 30 minutes from Lexington, about an hour and 20, maybe hour and 30 minutes from Louisville.
Okay. And what's your weather been like last few days or the last couple of weeks?
So we've had what they have identified as an extreme heat level warning, basically from all the way from, I believe, Tuesday until today. I think at 8 p.m. is when they're finally going to waive that forecast. But it's been in the upper 90s. The heat index has been saying 110, 112 degrees. And I mean, it's really, really grueling, and it's also a liability. So we have to ensure that we're not working past, 1 or 2 p.m. because at that time, it's hard to breathe out in type of weather like that.
Yeah.
And so even though I got a lot of really, really, really driven, awesome guys that help me keep this dream alive more than I can possibly thank them, I also have to make sure that they have some limits as well, because these boys, they just want to keep on working, man. And they tell me, they're like, hey, can we do one more job? I'm like, look, the heat's going to get to you. I know you're a little bit younger than I am, but I'm telling you right now from experience, you don't want to feel what almost heat stroke is like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and when it happens, it doesn't give you like a,
A
like
warning.
a nudge of, like, hey, I think you're dehydrated.
Yep.
Hey, I think, it's like a couple of years ago, I had a heat stroke, and it was like weird. We did a bunch of work, and then on the way driving home, I felt like, obviously I was really sweaty, really hot, but exhausted. And then I just got like really sick, like vomited, like yellow, weird liquid. And apologize to anybody who doesn't like hearing about yellow vomit that looks like, Gatorade, but it's, and then I just kind of parked my car, turned off the car. And of course, you're sitting vomiting out the side of the vehicle. And I blacked out for like 2 minutes, like just don't know what happened. Just kind of, and then, a buddy of mine, he was like, dude, I think you had a heat stroke. Like you all the symptoms and everything, you're out working. It's like 115 heat index, and, and then you just loss of appetite. You're sweating. It's almost like your skin is sealed because the water is like beating up on you instead of absorbing into your body. And, but yeah, like there was no red warning lights, like, hey, go get in the shade, go do whatever. It just hits you.
Yeah.
And when it hits you. Like you're not like, oh, I just need to go get some water and I'll be okay. So yeah, you do need to take care of yourself and make sure that, like you're saying, kudos to you for watching out for your employees, and not just, one more. Let's just get one more.
Yeah.
Because we can fall into that trap, right? Just one more deck. It won't kill anybody, but it can kill somebody.
Yes.
So,
yep.
Yeah,
I watch out for these boys.
Yep. Well, and again, like kudos to you, because I have a couple of good guys. They're my sons, and they're hard workers. They're extreme workers. And one of the things that we do is once we finish a job, and we're going to call it a day. Like we ended the day at like 12:30 the other day. And I'm like, you guys want to do another job, or do you guys want to call it quits? It's going to take us 35 minutes to get to where we're going. And then by the time we get there, set everything up, it'll probably be closer to 2:00. We're just now hitting where that heat and that humidity and the mugginess is, it's 95. But like you mentioned, heat index says it's 110, 115. And they're not afraid to sit there and go, Dad, we've done 2 jobs in like 4 hours. Let's call it quits. We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say, yeah, you guys are right. Let's call it quits. So where are you guys at now as far as like your equipment and things for your crews?
So we're learning a lot that a pressure washer, a very, very good pressure washer it's crucial to the job, because I have been, what I thought was reliable until you start to get on a really much larger scale is the Simpsons pressure washers. I thought one that you can, that's mounted onto a like a handle, basically, with a couple of wheels on it. It's like a 3,500, I believe, maybe like a little over 4 something GPM. I thought that those would be all right. Aside from the heaviness factor of carrying it in and out of the car, because that's already a lot of work just right there in itself. And then rolling it up a hill or down a hill or whatever the case is, or making sure it's level, it's not going to work any longer. So, I've been going through pressure washers because I don't have time to get them fixed either. And I'm not no master mechanic of any stretch of the imagination. So when it's broken, I'm like, well, it could be a $10 fix, but I don't have that time or the expertise to diagnose this. And when I go and take it around to different shops throughout where I live, people tell me it's going to be 2-3 weeks. I'm like, well, I don't have that time. I got to go buy another one. So I'm at my 3rd pressure washer, and already the past, year to date. And there's 2 that are down that are probably perfectly great pressure washers, but it's not working. So the pressure washing I need something mounted like how Stain and Seal Experts has. They got one that's mounted in the truck with a super like 100, 200 foot long hose, whatever it is. I mean, I need one of those.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot, we still have, we started using the Predator washers, but they're exactly like what you're mentioning. It's a small workout getting the machine in and out of your truck every day.
Yeah.
If you're doing 2 to 3 wash jobs, The things, I think they weigh a couple 100 pounds. Maybe I'm wrong. They feel like they weigh at least a couple 100 pounds. And getting it in and out of your truck, lifting it correctly and not throwing it down so that you're breaking the frame,
Right.
Takes care. But yeah, we have a small little trailer that we bought from a wash group that went out of business or decided they didn't want to do it anymore. It's got a Predator washer on there, reels with the hoses, the wash for the pressure washer for the water hose, and that thing is nifty. I mean, it's as getaway setup as you could think of. There's no water tanks, there's nothing, but it eliminated that picking up, throwing it in, taking it out, to where now we just roll up, hook up the hose, it hits to the washer, just like, a regular nice pressure washer system guy would have, but ours was like $1,100 or $1,200 for a trailer, the whole setup. And,
oh, wow.
And it makes it way easier. I mean, like when you get done at the end of the day of washing, you're like, man, my back feels pretty loose. It doesn't feel as tight as it used to when I'm, chugging that thing in and out 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it just makes things more efficient. So you've noticed a difference, right? Has it increased your efficiency? Has it increased your morale with your workers who don't have to lug the thing in and out when they're pushing a Simpson pressure washer in and out of the vehicle?
Well, that's the corner that we're trying to pivot to right now, is we're trying to get a trailer, no matter how it looks. I mean, I'd like it to look somewhat presentable, but we are trying to do what you have done. And I'm going to reach out because I have a lot of pressure washers, different companies that work with us. And so, say, for instance, if they go pressure wash a deck or something, or maybe, there's this really large house that needs to be washed while we're also doing the deck staining, I'll call them. And so, or they'll refer jobs to me. I'll refer jobs to them. It's a great partnership. And I know that there's a couple of them that I work with that'll be more than willing to help me with getting a setup similar to what they have, which is like a little cart on the back of their truck. So we're definitely going to be pivoting into that direction, because we had a little bit of a pickup today, actually, just with the pressure washers just not performing like they're supposed to.
Yeah, well, and especially as hot as it's getting, those things will die. I mean, if it's 115 heat index and you're out there and that thing's running, it's also getting exhausted, so it'll go down.
Yeah.
Again, like, I'm not a mechanical person. I'm looking around the corner of my garage, and I think I've got like a graveyard of old pressure washers from like 3200 to an old Walt that just died on us last year. And I say died on us, if somebody who's mechanically inclined probably can sit there and go, oh, this just needs a spark plug and the carburetor's, just whatever it might be. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what I'm doing with those.
Yeah.
So they stop working. I just go get another one. I don't have time to mess with it. But the trailer system that I have, honestly, it's the pressure washer outside of the wheel and the frame. So it's attached to the little trailer. It's like a little lawnmower trailer. And then I have 2 reels, one for a hose and one for your pressure washer. And so it hooks from the reel to the washer itself and vice versa. So it has 2 feeders, and then I just roll the hose out. And it's not a mechanical reel. It's, I got to sit there and roll it up, but it's real simple to do. It's just taking it off the wheels, putting it on your little trailer. And then anyways, well worth doing if you get the time or someone who can help you do something like that.
Yes, definitely.
So what type of staining are you guys primarily doing in your area? Are you guys doing decks, fences, all of the above?
Decks, fences, and cabins.
Cabins.
We do some cabins. It's not as prevalent. However, we do also interior staining. So, for instance, if there's something like a cedar tongue and groove underneath of, in a basement or of something, we'll do that. We also do a lot of doors as well, interior or exterior doors. Like my wife, she's the master stainer as far as when it goes to like the exotics, like a mahogany wood or something like that. I mean, she took a bare wood door brand new, and just did the wood conditioner, did the staining, did the clear coats and stuff. I mean, this thing was amazing. And I had no idea we could make wood just look that amazing. And so, yeah, we do doors, cabins, but our bread and butter is decks and fences. Don't get me wrong. That's the main course right there.
So are you guys out in like the horse country capital there, where you guys have like a ton of the 3 rail, or do you guys do residential?
Yeah, 3 and 4 rail. We do a lot of horse fences. A lot of them. I like doing them, but we don't particularly try to partake in trying to find leads where it's 5 football fields long, because we just don't have the equipment. Like, I'm not going to go buy a 50-gallon drum. I don't have like a little S10 truck that I don't mind, getting a ton of overspray on. I'll let those guys take care of that stuff. I like to do more of the intricate jobs where, one, you could charge a little more for those, and you can see your work a little bit better as far as, the customer saying, wow, we get to enjoy this every moment of the day, like a deck.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm trying to flip burgers and still do our little deal. Yeah, if you don't believe me, let me see if I can flip this down.
Let's see what you got. You got a flat top?
Yeah, we got a little black top. Actually, a customer of ours paid me $50 to take this off her hands. Older couple moved into one of those condominium type townhomes and she's a widow, doesn't grill, and it was just sitting out there, and she's like, hey, you want a grill? And I'm like, well, no, I already got a grill, but no, what do you got? And she's like, well, I'm just trying to get rid of this. How about I give you $50 and you can dispose of it for me? I don't care what you do with it. You throw it in a dumpster, you use it, you do whatever. Sell it on Facebook if you have to. And so I took it home and put a tank in it. She gave me 2 empty tanks. I filled 1 tank up, or I guess I exchanged the tank, brought one that worked, that was full of propane, hooked it up, and I've been using it ever since. It's like, oh, this is a good little grill. I keep using this thing.
Heck
and
yeah.
I made $50 out of it. I'm like, yeah, I'll get rid of it for you.
That's a deal.
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing a pre-4th of July family grilling day with a bunch of family members, and I love to grill burgers, and so I'm like, I'll do burgers. I'll grill. I think we're grilling 40 burgers.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let me grab you a burger and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So Guy Nix posted a while back about smash burgers and how he hates them. And so I told him that when I make a burger, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
It's got to be at least a 1/4 pound. And when you bite into it, I wouldn't say it's got to be a little red, but you got to hear at least the.
Mm-hmm.
So when you bite into that thing, and it has to be seasoned correctly.
Yeah, juicy.
Yeah, I am not one of those paper thin, chopped meat looking hamburger smash burgers. Here we have Freddy's. I don't know what you guys have there.
Yeah, we got a Freddy's.
Yeah, I'm not paying Freddy's to go buy a burger, eat a burger that is like Parche paper that's tinted to look like meat. Give me a hamburger.
Yep.
Anyways, so back to staining. So your wife is an interior door or exterior door stainer. What type of stains? Because I know I get asked quite often, hey, what do you use for staining doors and not staining doors? Is she using any specific product that you guys have found that works really well?
Yes. So it's called Oil Masters. And this stuff, it's from this store that we find actually in Lexington. I believe it's called Woodcrafters or Woodcraft, something of that nature. And so they have some various products that you can use for different types of woods, all in there. And we found that Oil Masters is top notch #1. We put that on, we do some really nice like trims around windows for certain commercial companies and stuff to do that, to make their offices look very nice and pop. We put it on doors, It's good for smaller projects because they only sell it in smaller increments. But yeah, it's Old Masters, not Oil Masters.
Okay,
Old Masters.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was saying Old Masters.
No,
That's
you're
what
fine.
she does it, and she was showing me the phone. She's like, "No, it's Old Masters." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, she's over here too." So,
Awesome.
but it's Old Masters. They're a great company for that type of specialized staining, for doors and such.
Yeah. All right, so let's oil stains. What kind of stains are you guys using for decks and fences there in your part of the country?
Yeah, I mean, we try to keep it very strict to expert stain. I mean, that's just the number one that I've found. Some every once in a while for very specific projects, we'll dip into TWP. But that's also kind of a film forming stain, so I'm not a big fan of it. But when there's a stain on there that I simply just cannot strip off completely, that TWP does have the engineering aspect of being able to hide some of the impurities, because if you were to put SSE on something that had a water-based coating and you weren't able to fully strip it off like spindles and such, you can't put it on there. It'll slide right off.
Yeah, we just did I don't know if it's not unique. So we had a customer that we were supposed to do a maintenance coat on. Walnut is what we put on there before. And when we went to wash it, he came up to me and we talked for like half an hour, just shooting the wind about different things. Small business owner himself. And he's like, "Hey, I don't want walnut, but I still want like some black accents to it. And so how do I do that?" He shows me a picture of this Trex Tiger Wood or something like that. And it's got like little black streaks in it, but it's orangey. And I'm like, well, I mean, we can wash it and then instead of just like a light wash, we'll try to get as much as we can off. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't want as much as I can off. I still want like patches of black and little streaks of black." And so I was like, well, all right, I'll do my best, like to not leave a bunch of walnut in there, but not leave it looking so it looks. I personally hated it. I'm like sitting there looking at it. I'm like, okay, it's pecan, but I still see black, right? Or but he's just like, "Dude, that's what I effing was wanting. That's exactly what my wife has been, getting on my case for." And da 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 da. And I'm like, you like it? And he's like, "Yes, I love it. I'll put you a good review in. I'll do that." I'm just like, let's get that check. Let's cash it because okay, I'm glad you're happy, but I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, man, that looks splotchy. That looks weird. It's not a uniform pecan. But so do you ever get customers like that or jobs like that where someone just gives you kind of an out of this world request and you're like, "Are you sure? Like, you're not drinking, you're sober?" Like what's an experience that you've had where something like that came up?
Yeah, so we've had customers that wanted their stain color to match their siding. Obviously, siding, from all the ones that I've seen, is a solid color. So mixing a transparent or semi-transparent or a semi-solid to match something that is a solid is relatively impossible. But you can get about 95% close. So we do a lot of mixing for stains. So like for instance, if we're trying to create a concoction that doesn't have too much orange in it, but they also want something like your Tiger Wood, we would mix a little bit of walnut, maybe even a possibility of sable. We'll measure it out just to really see how the actual formula is. We'll have some scrap wood around, make sure we approve it to the customer. We mix a lot of stains together just to make their own specific color, because sometimes when I do the quotes, I show them the fan deck. And they're both fighting over, the husband and wife is fighting over the fact that, okay, I want chestnut, but I also like a little bit more red. I like the sequoia. I'm like, let's make it even more complicated and let's mix the two together. You know what I mean? And so, and we get the best of both worlds that way. And I tell them all the time, I said, I can mix up to 3 different stains. Like, you can call me simply someone that is the same caliber as a Sherwin-Williams or a Lowe's. When you go and you bring them something and they can match it out of the computer, I'm pretty darn close. I'm pretty good with figuring out the colors just from so many days and years of using the same product, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we run into that quite a bit, and honestly, I'm more than happy to do it. Because it's really cool to see something very customized, and you took even extra care to make sure that they were happy. So it's neat.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I love about Expert Stain and Seal is that so a lot of their stains are oil. There's pigment. There's some other things that go in there, but it's not like buying a TWP. When I started off staining, that's what we used. We used TWP. And to use TWP today and see the variations that they have, I call it a modified oil, to where you open up the can, just the smell.
Oh yeah.
And then the pigment at the bottom looks like baby food.
Yeah.
You mix it up, and then you put it on, and you don't see it absorbing. You just see it like flat laying there, and then slowly it dries out. But what I was trying to get at was Expert Stain and Seal, and they don't give me anything. They don't, hey, if you promote us, you do this. I talk about them because I love their product. I love their company. I love their customer service, their ability to work with me on questions, on problems, whatever it might be. But I love the fact that, like you mentioned, hey, she likes chestnut, but I want a little bit more red. How do we get an equilibrium in there where we're both happy? Well, I can do 2 parts chestnut and 1 part mahogany or redwood or whatever, and create a Frankenstein stain or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's cool that the stain allows you to do that. We took semi-solid black and created our own semi-transparent black by just adding some black to clear to where the pigment was enough to where it's not rubbing off on a deck when they go walking on it, but it's black enough to where the customer wants it, but we're not freaking out about putting a semi-solid black on a deck and then having him walk out there with his white Gucci socks and go, what the hell, my feet are black. So it's neat to be able to do that. And then, like you said, just the reward of after it's done, sitting there going, yeah, Sheldon did that. Or Justin did that, or whoever. Those are neat experiences and rewards that we get doing what we're doing.
Yeah, like specifically a case that we had just a couple weeks ago. We were doing an interior sealing, and this customer loved the bison brown from the log and cabin timber oil series that they have. And one, it's really high penetrating, so that's what I really wanted for the interior. You got to be mindful of the citronella aspect because it's still interior, but it dissipates very quickly. But no, so she just wanted a little bit darker. She loved the bison brown, but she wanted a little bit darker. I was like, well, I got this little 4-ounce can of the black. Let me put a teaspoon or 2 in there, and then we mix it up because the pigments of black is so dominant, of course. And it literally, she was like blown away. She was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want. I didn't see much of a significant change, but she saw it. And I was like, well, as long as you see it, call me colorblind. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's such a versatile product. One, it's also very easy to use because when I first had started, I was using Cabot and Valspar.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Okay. It's unless you are really, really good at it, you can make that product actually look pretty good, to be honest with you. We became experts in it. Like I won't tell other people to use it, but if you told me to use it, I'll make it the best looking thing and it won't be cracking, chipping, and peeling and none of that stuff. But there is other things that fall into that type of product where, when it fails, it's really, really difficult. The maintenance is always pretty much the same as the original quote, as opposed to SSC. But, I love it because we have a lot of decks that we do with the ballisters are those like black kind of aluminum spindles. Mm-hmm. I can get messy. I put a tarp over top of the spindles. I just spray away, man. And people are looking at me. They're like, "Hey, you got stain all over my spindles." I say, "Yep, no problem. I'll wipe them off in about 5, maybe 10 minutes. No big deal." And that stuff just comes off like butter. You barely even have to use any degreaser. I mean, it makes the job so much more simplistic. Whereas before, I was taping the spindles. I was cutting in around the spindles. I mean, I was just so much more had to be animated when I was doing these jobs, and it was horrible. And whenever we were bidding these jobs, sometimes I wanted to bid it so high that they'd say no because of the agony and pain that I knew I was going to be up against by using a product that I thought was good at the time. And then we were introduced to Expert Stain and Seal, and it just changed the game.
Yeah.
And so now I jump for joy because I'm like, ooh, less spindles, way easier cleanup, no problem, less overspray type of, so it's great.
Yeah, Christian, our sales, he's my 21-year-old. He does our sales, and when he comes across a deck that has metal spindles, he loves it because he knows just how easy it is now compared to what, like you mentioned. Oh crap, we got to tape that, or we got to pull all those spindles off. If you're lucky enough, they're the ones that are screwed on. They're not the round ones that are in the rail itself. Yeah. And so now he's just like, awesome, this will be easy. Hey. And then when the customer asks, like, what are you guys going to do? He's like, you notice how your spindles look kind of dull and matte looking? When we're done, they're going to be shiny. Yeah, seriously, like, shiny? How are you going to do that? We're going to treat them. And that's how he sells it. He's like, we're going to actually treat your spindles. And when we're done staining, you're going to see us wipe every single spindle, and we're conditioning that metal. Love it. And so when we get done, we do it regardless if there's any stain on there or not, because, call it anal, call it whatever. We just want to make sure it's all nice and clean. And so we wipe down every spindle, and we've had numerous customers that come out and it's like, oh, I get what he meant now by conditioning that metal. And I'm kind of like, conditioning the metal. And he's like, yeah, I told them we were going to condition their spindles, give it a little oil treatment so they look shiny again instead of dull. And I'm like, that's pretty ingenious of you to go. Yeah, that's very, very intelligent. That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, and so you're giving it a small. We use a rag that has a little bit of dish soap and degreaser. We use Zepp's degreaser with water. We water it down, put it on, wet it. But after about the time you're wiping down spindles, it's got enough oil in there to where you are just lightly putting a little oil on those. And so, and it looks beautiful. They look a lot better than they did when they were just dusty, matte looking, worn out looking. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So what are some challenges that you as a company, you and your wife as your company, Just Stain It, that you guys have seen this year, or have you had a challenging year this year at all? Yes, it's been challenging in regards to getting the business organized. So for the past about 3.5 years, basically 4 years, we have not had an actual CRM. We've had one that my wife made on an Excel spreadsheet to where it plugs in numbers, it can revert back this and that. But we just now this year got our first CRM. And it has absolutely changed the game for us. My mom, she's actually managing everything. She's like, I have no idea how you've been able to handle this. I said, well, they got me on blood pressure medication and some anxiety medication. So that does help a little bit. But no, that was the biggest challenge, was trying to get organized, because we were simply operating off of notes in the phones, screenshots, remembering customers, writing them down on a whiteboard. Very ancient times, type of organization, which, most people wouldn't call that organization. It was just madness that was carried with some integrity and some intelligence to keep moving it forward. I used to describe the business when people would ask, they would say, what does it feel like to be operating at such a high level, doing the home and garden shows? We don't have to promote anymore. I said, well, to be honest with you, it used to feel like a train was going 100 miles an hour on fire down the track, and I had no way of stopping it. There's just, I don't know where it's going. I don't know when it's stopping or what's going to happen, but it's going. And it's now, it feels like I have something really under control, and I know how to put the brakes on if I need to, or accelerate it a little bit, and it's also not on fire. So it's nice. Yeah. So for we did absolutely nothing besides we had a 3-ring binder that we would shove paper. Well, we'd add paper to it, and then so we started in 2014. So we had a little tab with each month, and we divided it by years, and that was our record keeping. Sheldon, deck, and we'd have like our invoice in there, and that's what we would go back to. And then 2 years later, we'd go to 2014 and we would look up customers and we'd have our own little notes in there, super picky, never could be content, whatever we were putting in there. And it's like, do we really want to call them up? Because she or he was a pain in the ass. And then we wait. Where we're bidding now in 2016 or 2020 is way different than what we were bidding in 2014. And, so that's how we were doing it. And now for those who don't have a CRM, right, who are in that boat like I was years ago, where you were in, it's as easy as going and clicking a box and sitting there and saying, create maintenance camp. I don't know how yours works, right? So ours is create maintenance campaign and customers. I can click on the year of the customer and it will send, as long as you've gathered the info, the text numbers, the emails, vital information, it will then send out an email campaign in one giant out box, whatever, right, to all our customers from 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And it'll basically tell them, hey, we're doing you can go in there and verbiage it the way you want it to, but it'll send them all out all at once. And you don't have to sit there, pick up your phone and go like, oh yeah, Mrs. Smith. Hey, Mrs. Smith, this is Justin with Making All Things New. We're doing a maintenance campaign, or it's time to do your maintenance. They'll just get that email. They'll get that automated text. And when we first did that, it was like 9:00 p.m. the next morning, about 5:30, 6 o'clock, we started getting text messages that were replying to that campaign. Put us on the books. Like, let me know when. And I'm like, let me know when. What the hell is, and then I'd click on it and it's like, oh, this is the maintenance campaign that I just sent out late last night, and people are responding. And so now, and then it gives the CRM, the way you set it up, and everybody's CRM is so different, but the way it sets it up, it takes away a lot of that back office stuff that, I don't know about yourself, but for me, that I was spending hours afterwards, and these are my two typing fingers, I'm a left index finger and a right index finger typer. And so I don't have to sit there and go SIMPSON and then go over and click on the box and put it into the calendar. And then with the one finger typing thing, go in, deck and fence. It does it all for you. Yeah. And it eliminates all those headaches, all that extra time, all those extra hours. And so if you're on the fence on a CRM because you don't know if you can afford, I'm just going to throw out $100. Some people pay less, some people pay more. If you don't know if you can afford $100, take 1 month and clock how much time you spend after work or during work or whenever it is when you're sending out those emails, when you're sending out those text messages or you're making those phone calls. And at the end of the month, clock how many hours you just spent off the books, after hours, away from family. You're not sleeping because you're doing it at 10 o'clock at night when everybody's asleep. And then multiply that by how much you charge your customer an hour to come out and do work for them. And then realize that $100 is a bucket, like it's a penny in the bottom of a bucket. Yep. And then the rewards you get are like 100 times ROI that you put into it. Yep. So how's your 2026 season going? We're about for us, we're halfway right now. This is the middle of our season. How's your 2026 looking?
It has been absolutely booked. I mean, we have jobs that are going now. We're booking, in September. So it's going very, very well. We haven't done 1 ounce of marketing aside from the very beginning of the year. We do the Home and Garden Show every year, just because they always ask us to go back, and we do that at the Rupp Arena in Lexington. And I'd say honestly, we're probably the smallest company there because all the other ones are like corporate companies, or like really large bathroom remodeling companies and stuff. And we're just that little tiny niche there. And that serves us very well. We've already burned through all those leads. We've already used them all up, and we got everyone on the books and already completed pretty much.
Awesome.
And now everything is just gone from word of mouth. I used to spend thousands of dollars a year just on marketing, like, Facebook ads, Google ads, things of that nature. I can't spend a penny more on it. It's not because I can't afford it. I would have to have 30 or 40 people, working. And it's already tough to manage just what we have at the moment. I mean, don't get me wrong. We got some great guys that, a lot of this stuff is common sense. It really is, and so we have a really great crew now that's carrying us along. And I don't always have to be so much involved or on site. Of course, you always have to inspect what you trust. However, I'm much more confident this year than I've been in any other year before. So we got a really great group of individuals that keeps us moving. But as far as marketing goes, we have zero. I mean, we put a sign in the yard whenever we're doing, just to identify the house that we're at. It almost helps the guys to find the address quicker, especially when you're in some of these like really, rural towns and such. But no, it's been a blessing this year for sure.
That's great. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people say that they were worried coming into 2026, and then now that it's actually kicked off, that the season's full blown, that people are booked. They've got more work than they know what to do with. Some people are complaining they don't have enough work to do. And so it's an open-ended question, because I've heard, man, my year I've never been this busy, or it's been like, oh, it's super slow. I'm not reaching out. I'm not getting those customers. So if someone was telling you they're struggling with getting work, what would be something that you would advise them to do or to try that maybe they haven't tried?
Sure. One thing is just capitalizing on the small jobs that you have. Sometimes you got to underbid a job a little bit. You got to get that customer, because you have to not just look at that one house that's in that neighborhood or that suburb, wherever you're at. You have to account for, hey, that one over there, about 200 yards down that way, that's a brand new fence and deck. That means I can put my sign in this yard, and now I can gander the attention of all these other neighbors over here. So you have to be aware of your surroundings, not just what's directly in front of you. I find that to be super, super beneficial, because just that one job that I might have, I wouldn't ever get burned on, but my margins would be a little bit less, no problem, because now I'm getting all of those other customers. So now I can take care of the whole neighborhood.
Yep. So did you see that video that Chris Olson from Madison Stain posted yesterday or the day before, where he's at a staining job? The neighbor comes over, asks him to stain just some steps and a rail, and then I think it's a couple of flower boxes or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Chris, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But he asked the question, he gave the owner a price, or the neighbor a price, and then the neighbor countered with a lower price. Mm-hmm. And after he was talking to him, he found out he's like a vet, and so he did it. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. Same color stain, everything, right? So they're just neighbors. And then he asked the question, what would you have done? Would you have, stayed firm, like, no, you're going to pay this because this is what we charge, or would you have knocked your price down for a cash deal and this and that? And it made me think, and it's like, well, you think about it, you're already there.
Yep.
Right. And I think he said it was 45 minutes away. So if you had to come to that very same job, so he sees Sheldon, or he sees Justin, the neighbor, and he's like, hey, can I get your card, or can I get your number? And let's say he calls 3 days later, or he calls the next day after you're done staining. Now you're driving 45 minutes there to estimate it. Then you're driving 45 minutes back, or maybe you're going to a different job. But I was like thinking to myself, that's an hour and a half travel time. And then to come back, another hour and a half to stain it. All right. So now you're at 3 hours. I don't know how fast or how slow his crew is. You're probably going to be done staining those little steps in that flower box or 2 flower boxes, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
So your drive time, just to estimate it, you could have just stained it. All right. And
Yep.
so in my mind, I'm like, too often we're like so set on, I won't do it for less than $1,500.
Right.
Okay. I understand that, but you're already there. The bucket of stain's already open. Like I bring a bucket of stain to a job, whether I'm going to use it or not.
Yep.
Pop that bucket open. I use 2 gallons. I use 3 gallons. I don't care. I've got the bucket of stain. So you're not having to buy a special color or bring a special color. Like what's your mindset? Would you be of the mindset of it's okay to lower your price and do it while you're there, or are you more the other way that some folks are commenting of like, no, stick firm to your guns, keep your price the way it is, and like, what's your opinion on something like that?
So I'll make a correction on my previous statement about I don't promote. I utilize customers like that, especially ones when I know if I just do it for this price, I know I can earn their business. That is me promoting, basically. So instead of me having to go and put, $100, $200, or $1,000 on a Facebook ad to try and get more customers just like them, I can invest in saying, okay, I'm going to advertise here because I'm going to lower my price, and you're going to get the benefit of a cheaper deal, so that way I can put my sign in your yard. So basically, I'm investing my marketing dollars into the customer because I just want to be recognized in this neighborhood. It's significantly more beneficial to be on their property and have my sign there, because all the neighbors can now I can gain their trust. So in a way, I still do promote, but it's through my customers only. So I'd always say I'd rather make $1 than a penny. So I'm if I'm already there, I'm going to earn your business no matter what, because I want that deck over there. I want your neighbor's fence, and I want you to go on Facebook and tell everyone about me. So that's my investment to the marketing right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I want to be the neighborhood stainer than just the guy who comes every, oh yeah, I think we saw that guy there. I want to be the guy that, Mrs. Jones told, Mrs. Wiles about, and Mrs. Wiles now has us staining. And then I want the neighbor across the street to also notice that we stain and hire us to stain it. Our goal is so when we go to a job, our method of madness is, Sheldon calls us and asks us for an estimate. We go out there, we do your estimate, and then we put signs in those neighborhoods, entrances, common access areas. And then our method is we'll hand out a minimum of 10 door hangers to the neighbors. Yep. And so when we're doing an estimate, we're looking at your deck. We're like, okay, wood fence and deck, wood fence and deck. And so we hit those jobs with door hangers. Then when we come back, we sell the job. We come back to wash. The sign goes in the yard. If it doesn't go in the yard as we sell it, so if we talk and you agree on the price, okay. Hey, do you mind if we put a yard sign in there, just so folks know that we're doing your deck? And usually customers, no, they're about to mow. Maybe when you come out to wash, whatever. But when we come back to wash, we put a yard sign in there. We re-hit the yard signs if we need to, and then we're re-hitting door hangers. And we found that people calling us because of the door hangers and the yard signs are far more effective than a Facebook ad that we don't know is actually touching that neighbor or not touching that neighbor. Mm-hmm. Or we spend like almost $800 a month on Google. We don't know if that Google ad actually came or would hit that neighbor or hit that neighborhood because, it's going out on a mass outlay. Yep. So yeah, that personal marketing, like you're talking about, we found is way more effective than,
walking away.
Yeah. Yeah. And then walking away, like, hey, I did it for $100 cheaper, but we're doing it, we're making 14 instead of 15, but we didn't spend $150 on advertising, gas, time to go sell it. And then, there's a level to where doing it cheaper is actually more profitable than sticking firm on your price and then not getting whatever.
Love it. And you get to keep your boys busy. So that's good. Yeah. That's good for them too, because they got, my boys, they have families and stuff. So, and they got bills to pay. They got lights, they got car payments, they need gas. I mean, I don't, it's not just for me anymore. This is a family thing. I consider them to be family to me because you got to treat them like that. Cause I want them to be happy. They all give me lots of compliments. I'm a good boss and things of that nature, because people don't walk away from good jobs. They walk away from bad bosses. So yeah, I'll even do a lower bid just to make sure my boys are busy, to get you guys some hours, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if you know if you figured out your numbers there's always that question: how much do I charge? How much do I not charge? You need to know personally within your own business what those numbers are, so that you do have that understanding of, I need to charge X amount of dollars in order to be profitable, to pay my bills, to pay my supplies, pay my employees, and oh, by the way, pay yourself, to make sure you and your family are getting taken care of.
Yeah.
If you don't know your numbers, you're just going off a number that someone tells you. I admit it all the time. There have been times where I was busier than heck, and then at the end of the year when our season ended, I was broke as heck. Because I didn't know my numbers, but I was super busy. I was doing all kinds I was working 80 hours a week and then some. But at the end of the year, I was broke because I didn't know my numbers. So once you figure out your numbers, you'll know if charging $100 less is profitable or if it's not. You'll know, hey, we're going to stay busy. Maybe we'll take on 3 jobs that we're going to make a little bit less, but we're all going to stay busy, and we're still going to make money. But we're not making what we normally would. I unfortunately I have to go.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
I would love to talk to you again. We'll have to set up another time where we can just continue talking. I have a feeling that if my wife's not around anymore, but if my wife wasn't here, you and I would probably go for a couple hours just shooting the wind on standing, geeking out.
Heck yeah, man. It was a pleasure, Justin.
But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for watching. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to you and your family, Sheldon. If you have any questions for Sheldon, shoot him a message, reach out to him. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to talk to you, answer any questions that you guys have. I absolutely love talking to you. We'll have to do this again next time.
Yes,
but
sir.
Until then, thank you everybody for watching. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Peace out.
See you guys.